Hello, it is Hex here, and welcome to a plot twist, an actually good creepypasta as opposed to a crappy pasta. It's called Hypercola, and it's pretty unnerving if I do say so myself. It is made by Pacer Nation 16, and it's on the Creepypasta Wiki. I will give you a link, so if you can want to read it yourself, just in case my reading of it is a little lackluster, but hopefully I'll be able to do it. Yeah, it's pretty unnerving, and I think you guys might like it. It's also the first actual creepypasta I'm doing on my channel. So, without further ado, sit back, relax, and here's Hypercola. I prefer not to speak about the days I worked for Coca-Cola. However, I feel it is my duty to reveal the six secrets of this wicked corporation. They were willing to torment people, use them as puppets, make them be tortured, and even take their lives, just to assure that their business stayed on top. Not too many years ago, I would say around 2009, I was gaining acclaim for the diligence and impressive skill I displayed. The manager of our Coca-Cola sector promoted me to Overwatch, the newest product they were testing. It was called Hypercola. Energy drinks were rising in popularity, and Coca-Cola had no product to compete in this field. Hypercola was planned to alter just that. I had little knowledge on the ingredients within Hypercola, for I was mainly dealing with our marketing for the product. I knew the goal, however, was to create an energy drink that was highly addictive, and after briefing the team developing the beverage, we arrived at the conclusion that the only further thing needed was fan-based opinions. We wanted to gather a wide variety of people to taste the drink. Several people, from juvenile to elder, lean to plump, and even lanky to little, arrived. We called them the beta testers of our product. As they sipped the soda, all were rather pleased. Following the taste test, we placed all by estimation of 15 of them into a room. This room was entirely recreational. It possessed 2 basketball hoops, had slides streaming and twirling through the walls, and even offered several frisbees to toss. The area was quite vast, and offered plenty of room for exercise. We all peered through the window in interest to see how active Hypercola had caused them to be. We saw the elder people speedwalk and stand taller, seemingly more active. The juvenile younger people performed highly active activities, and strangely, one of the shorter beta testers stood in a corner staring at the wall. It looked rather peculiar, but it appeared the drink had made every other person display much more enthusiasm. There was an older couple jogging, 2 younger brothers and sisters tossing a frisbee, and even 2 middle-aged friends competing against each other in a game of one-on-one. But now there stood 2 people fixated on the corner, backs to us. The second person that accompanied the original was much older, looking to be in their 60s at least. Both of the figures were rather short, and they stood looking lifeless, hunched over. We wondered if they had been exhausted by the drink or if they decided to take a break. We weren't sure, but it gave me an unsettling feeling. I could tell something was off. We decided to send an employee in to check on the 2 that stood by the corner. As he trekked through the open room, people looked to be getting more and more exhausted. In fact, on his voyage to the 2 standing in the corner, I noticed at least 3 more joined them. It looked as if this activity was slowly growing into the majority. Once our employee reached a group of beta testers, we all kept our eyes fixated on the area. He slowly shifted his arm to the air. As he glanced directly to the back of the juvenile girl, he lightly tapped her shoulder, resting only his index finger on her. He spoke, asking, "Ma'am, are you okay?" The girl turned. Her appearance was revolting. She stood there staring directly to the employee, gazing her blood-red eyes incontestably with him. She licked her pale white skin with an unaltered grin. Her lips stretched to either side of her face, her eyelids widened, and her pupils soon encompassed the borders of her eyelids. Pupils dilated, lips flaking, and skin empty of color. She spoke, "Help." Her message was delivered with an uneasy tone as she trembled. This was all she could manage to say before collapsing to the floor. More of the people piled in, and quickly the entire group lay staring at the corner of the room. All of the employees quickly brought the patients to quarantine roomed, and after several attempts to save the sickly, there were only 4 that survived. I walked into one of the rooms, and they were crouched on the floor, staring directly at the same corner. They looked bewildered and exhausted. They spoke with chapped, flaking lips. "Hell is real. Hell is real." I looked up. It had been written all over the walls. I gazed back to the patient as they continued to stare at the wall. Their heads turned swiftly, gazing directly at me with fully dilated eyes. In fear, their mouth opened once more, and they spoke. "It is real, and they exist on Earth." I turned and went to speak with the manager. I explained to him that I found the patient sitting there iterating the same words over and over. I proceeded to tell him it was also written on every wall, but the manager then had a sudden change in mood. He turned to me and looked at me as if I was insane and said, "They didn't have anything to write with. Those rooms were empty." We both returned to the patient's room, but we were left with no evidence. The writing on the walls had disappeared as well as the patient. We dashed to the security room to view cameras of the other patients, all of which showed empty rooms. I then glanced at the last camera and noticed a pure black dark image. We ran to this room, and when I opened the door I was startled. There lay all 15 of our testers, all living, even those pronounced dead. Behind them, written on the wall, it said, "Death is inevitable. Choose wisely." I was baffled at the statement, but eager to see the rest alive. And several days after the situation died down, there were outbursts here and there of patients reporting horrible nightmares and visions. For the most part, the company cooled down. None of the visitors seemed to have any memory of drinking the hypercola to the happiness of the owner, as a situation like this would likely destroy his business. However, unlike the rest of the company, I recently followed the lives of these patients. I researched them and discovered something disheartening. All of them were reported dead. Not a single one was living. Even worse, they all died on the exact same day, at the exact same time. But at different events. Some committed suicide, others faced fatal car accidents, and some had what they called unexplainable deaths. This fact was unnerving to me. After the events, we searched through the containers of hypercola but found nothing. We noticed the remainder of the bottles had been opened, but we couldn't identify what had been added. The scientists at Coca-Cola also noted the caps had been opened no longer than seconds before testing the drink. The expiration dates were also changed to August 2nd, 2027. This seemed odd, but was unexplainable. The drink was obviously quickly thrown under the rug for its high danger, and the company of course needed to protect itself. And because of its fame and size, had little trouble in doing so. So they deleted all traces of hypercola anywhere. Speculation of its arrival was disregarded, articles of it on the internet have been forced to be taken down, and even the hype about it has died down. As anyone who has ever drank it is no longer alive. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this article is taken down as well. After all, Diet Coke, Coca-Cola, has done a magnificent job of masking the outbursts from the public. That was Hypercola, and man, it was very decent, especially compared to other crap I had. So, man, what did it do? It's a story about basically Coke that might drive people insane or whatnot, and a theory I have about it is that the person who is testing this or whatnot could be affected by it. I'm not sure. It's a little confusing, but it is a very creepy thing if you look at it in a certain way. It's yeah, it's a kind of unnerving. It leaves you questioning what if this drink existed, and if it did, what the hell does it do? It's creepy. It sets a mood, and it's explicable and it's realistic. What do you think about this creepypasta? And if you have any ideas for my next one, be sure to put that in the comment section below. Until next time, this is Hex, and I'm out of here.